Today's topic is Postgres installation. Today's topic is Postgres installation. Okay, so before discussing about how to install the Postgres in your system, so we need to discuss about what are the installation types that we have for installing the Postgres. Okay, so we'll be having it three types of Postgres installations. One is source code installation. One is source code installation. Second one is yum installation. Third one is packages installation. Packages installation. So using this all these three methods, the end goal or the main point is to install the Postgres system. But to install the Postgres system, but what is the difference is, okay, what is the difference is, so if you go for the M installation or packages installation, the binaries, okay, the Postgres software or Postgres binaries are going to get installed in a default location called slash user slash local slash pgsql. This is the default location in which the software Postgres software or Postgres binaries are going to get installed. Okay, in source code installation also we have two options. One is to get to let the Postgres to get installed in the default location, which is like slash user or slash local or pgsql location otherwise, or we can use this source code installation to install the binaries in a user defined location. Okay, to install the binaries in a user defined location. But in case of M installation or packages installation, we don't have such option. Okay, we don't have such option. About this M installation, we will be seeing it in a later classes, but the main focus is how to install. Okay, the main focus is how to install the Postgres using a source code installation. Why are we preferring source code installation? Because we are preferring a source code installation because using source code installation we can install the binaries. Okay, we can install the Postgres binaries in which location? We can install the Postgres binaries. We can install the Postgres binaries in pre-user defined. Okay, you can install the Postgres binaries in user defined location. When I say user defined location, anything other than slash user slash local slash pgsql. Okay, this is the default location where the Postgres binaries are going to get installed if you don't specify the any location, or if you use like M installation or packages installation, this is the location where the Postgres binaries are going to get installed. Now the next point is steps for Postgres installation. Steps for 1 minute, 1 minute. Steps for what happened? Give me a minute. So the topic that we are going to discuss is steps for Postgres installation. Okay, the first step is download the software. Second step is copy the software to your Linux. Copy the software to Linux server. So the downloaded software is in tar format. So you need to untar or unzip the file. Okay, untar the download copied software. Go to, okay, go to the software directory and call configure utility. called the configure utility. Okay, these are all the steps that are involved in the Postgres binaries installation. Okay, so entire Postgres binaries installation is divided into two parts. Okay, entire Postgres installation is divided into two parts. Binaries installation one is binaries installation and second one is database initialization. Okay, database initialization. Okay, one is binaries installation and second one is the database initialization. Whatever the steps that we have discussed so far that talks about the binaries installation. Binaries installation is nothing but installing the Postgres binaries. What does it mean by database initialization? Database initialization, in this step what we are going to do, right, we are going to call a utility called initdb. We are going to call a utility called initdb to create, okay, to create the necessary configuration files that are required to install that are required to start the Postgres cluster. Okay, the location where we have these configuration files, that location we call it as a data directory. Okay, database initialization is nothing but, in this step we are calling the initdb utility. Okay, we are calling the initdb utility, okay, to create the necessary configuration files which are required, okay, which are required to start the Postgres cluster. Okay, now the first step we are going to do with the binaries installation. Okay, binaries installation. Binaries installation. Okay, what is the first step? The first step is download the software. Download the software. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll go to Windows. Okay, I'll go to Windows. From postgresql.org, from postgresql.org I'm going to download, from the postgresql.org I'm going to download the required software. I'm going to download the required software. Let me go to Windows. Okay, Postgres download. Okay, take the postgresql.org website. So do we need to pay any licensing? As I said, like, it's not required because Postgres is a open source. Then go to source. Under the downloads we have an option called source, and see, we have the different versions of software. What is the latest version? 17. Still it is a beta. 16 is the latest version. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to download 15.8. Okay, I'm trying to download 15.8. Among this, just take this tar.gz file. Okay, just this file is getting downloaded. The moment the download is completed, so we need to copy the software from downloads location to the our Linux machine. Okay, so what I'll do, just I'll go to Linux. Before copying the file, okay, before copying the file, what I'm trying to do, right, just I'm trying to create a directory to copy the file. Okay, so where I'm trying to create a directory, let's see the mount points here. df-hc, we have a u01, u02. So what I'll do, I'm going to create a directory under u01. Okay, mkdir software. This is the location where I'm going to copy the software. Okay, from where from the Windows downloads folder. Okay, so now what I'll do, let's see whether the download has been completed or not. Yeah, the download has been completed. What is the file name? postgres-15.8.tar.gz. Now let's try to copy this software. Okay, cp, where is the file? /mnt. This is in the shared folder of the Windows. Okay, /mnt/hgfs and downloads. What is the postgresql.15.8.tar.gz. I'm trying to copy it to the current location. I'm trying to copy it to the current location. Where I have copied it to the Linux under u01 software. Now what I need to do, I need to untar it. Okay, tar-xvf and file name. I'm untarring the software, which means I'm unzipping the software. Let it unzip. Okay. Okay, the unzip is complete. Whenever the file is unzipped, right, a directory will be created with the same name as tar file name. So let's go to the directory and see what are the contents of it. Okay, just I'm going to this directory and ls see whether you are able to see a utility called configure. Okay, so from this directly we can call the configure to install. Okay, but as I said, okay, if you directly call, the dot slash configure, if you directly call the configure utility, so again the software will be installed in the default location, which is called slash user slash local slash pgsql. This is the default location where it is going to get installed. But what is our goal? Our goal is to install in a user defined location. That is the reason why we have opted for the source code installation. So in my case, where I am trying to install is, I am trying to create a location called u01. Okay, u01 postgres slash pgv15. This is the directory in which I wanted to install my Postgres binaries. Okay, if you want to install in this location, what is the first step that you need to do? You need to create this location. Okay, so let me create the location mkdir hyphen small p slash u01 postgres slash u01 slash postgres pgv15. So in this location I am trying to create, this postgres binary. So now, so after untearing this, what we got a directory. Under this we have a configure utility. Configure utility is used to install the postgres binaries. Okay, dot slash how we need to call dot slash configure. When you do like this will be installed in slash user slash local slash pgsql. But if you want to install in a predefined location, then what you need to do, right? Dot slash configure, and you need to pass a parameter called hyphen prefix equal to location where you want to install, install. This is how you need to copy. In this case, what is the location? Dot slash configure hyphen prefix equal to where, what is the location? Slash u01 slash postgres slash pgv15. This is what we have to pass. Okay, let's see now. Okay, now, so where are we? We are under the location where we have untied the software. Okay, ls. So this is the configure utility. Now let me call the configure dot slash configure hyphen prefix equal to, what is that? Slash u01 slash postgres pgv15. It will take some time to check the required libraries and all. Once that is done, we need to call make to make the system ready for the installation, and then you need to install by calling make install. Okay, let's wait for the configure to get completed.
Eric, Harish Alam here.
Okay, so this dot slash configure has been completed, and if you see through which user we are going to we have installed this, we are trying to install the Postgres binaries through root user. So the point that you need to remember here is use root user for installing the Postgres binaries. Okay, now the configure is completed. Now the next step is make. What make will do? Make. Okay, what make will do? Make will make the system ready for the installation. Okay, so the next step is make. Once make is completed, we are going to call make install. So what make and make install will do? Make will make the system ready for installation. Make the system ready for installation. Make the system ready for the installation. Make install is going to perform the actual installation. Make install is going to perform the actual installation. Now let's call make. Okay, just give make and enter. So it will take some time, like hardly like 10 to 15 minutes to complete the make. Once the make is completed, we are going to call the make install. With that, we will be completing the installation of the Postgres binaries. What is the next step? The next step is we need to go ahead for the database initialization. So why do we need to perform the database initialization? The moment you are done with the Postgres maintenance, we don't have anything, or I mean to say, there will be no default databases, or there will be no configuration file that gets created. Okay, database initialization is a step in which using initdb utility we are going to what we are going to create the necessary configuration files. Okay, we are going to create the necessary configuration files like postgresql.conf for postgresql.auto.conf for pg underscore hba.conf, and as we discussed, there is a directory called pg underscore val. Those default locations, those will be created. Okay, the location where we have created these files, we call it as a data directory. Okay, data directory is a place in which we are going to have the all the Postgres configuration files that are required to start up the Postgres cluster. Okay, let them make complete so that we will proceed with the next steps. So what is the version of the Postgres that we are installing now? 15.8 is the version which we are installing now. Okay. take some more time to get this complete. Okay, yeah, this make is completed. Now the next step is just call make install. This is what this is going to perform the actual installation. Okay, this will be done in a while. Okay, it won't take time. So the steps is configure, make and make install. Okay, that configure will take a user defined location using hyphen hyphen prefix option. Okay, so whenever you want to install the binaries in a user defined location, you need to pass this through hyphen hyphen prefix location. Yeah, so this gets completed. So how should we know that installation gets completed or not? Okay, once the installation is completed, just go to the location where you have installed the software. What is the location? Slash u01 slash postgres slash pgv15. If you see, there will be four directories that got created. Okay, bin, share, lib and include. Okay, so these are all the directories that will get created if the installation is successful. Now let's go to the bin and check what we have. Okay, if you go to bin, see there are different kinds of utilities. Okay, pg underscore ctl is used for the cluster operations. Psql is a command line interface to connect to the database. Pg dump is to take the backup. Pg dump all is to take the global objects backup. Likewise, whatever the utilities that are required will be under the bin location. So with this, what we have completed, we have completed the installation of binaries. Okay, now let's conclude this session. I mean to say the binaries installation. So through which user we have performed the binaries installation? Through root user we have performed the binaries installation. Under which location? Slash u01 slash postgres slash pgv15. This is the location where we have installed the binaries. Now the next step is database initialization. Okay, now the next step is database initialization. Now the next step is database initialization. Okay, what are all the steps? What are the steps is, so database initialization. Okay, So create the data directory. First create the data directory location. Create the data directory location. And second step is change the ownership of data directory. Change the ownership of data directory and binaries location. Change the ownership of data directory and binaries location from root to Postgres user. We are having a Postgres user by default, so we are transferring the ownership from root to Postgres, location from root to Postgres user, root user to the Postgres user. Third step is make Postgres user as a super user. Make Postgres user as super user. How we are going to do that, we will see. Okay. And fifth step is call initdb utility. Call initdb utility. These are the steps that are involved. Okay. The first step is create the data directory location and change the ownership of data directory and the binaries location from root user to Postgres user. And the third step is make the Postgres user as a super user. How we will make the Postgres user as a super user? If you want to make any user as a super user in Linux, there will be a file called /etc/sudo. In that file we need to make an entry that we will be seeing. Okay, and the fourth step is called the initdb utility. Initdb is a utility which is available in the binaries location, and using this utility we will be initializing the databases. Now let's see. The first step is create the necessary data directory. What is the location where you want to have the data directory? /u02 postgres /data_dir. This is the location where I want to have my configuration files. This directory we call it as what? Data directory. Okay, this file, this directory we call it as a data directory. Now let's create the data directory. Okay, let's create the data directory. Okay, mkdir-p/u02. I wanted to make binaries location and software location in a different mount points. This is a, and that will be a good practice. Okay, data and data_dir. Okay, I have created. Now what is the next step? The next step is to change the ownership of this data directory and binaries location from root user to root user to the Postgres user. Okay, how can we do? CHOWN-R username group name Postgres /u02 Postgres data_directory. And what is the other location we need to change? We need to change it for the binaries as well. /u01 Postgres data directory. Sorry, u01 Postgres pg v15. For these two locations, we have changed the ownership. And the one more point is this binary database initialization we are going to perform through a user called Postgres. For that, you need to make Postgres user as a super user. How can we do? Through root user, just open sudoers file. What is the location of sudoers file? /etc/sudovers. Okay, when you open this, scroll down. Okay, when you open this, scroll down, you need to add an entry for the Postgres user. You need to add and see, allow a root to run any commands. Likewise, as we are going to make the Postgres user as a super user, what we are going to do? We are going to add an entry for the Postgres all equal to same as like above. Okay, all equal to all space all. This makes the Postgres user as a super user. Let me save this now. So through which user we are going to perform the database initialization? Through Postgres user. So su hyphen, just switch to the Postgres user. Okay, now, so how we are going to perform the database initialization? By calling a initdb utility. Where is the initdb utility? This initdb utility is available in the Postgres binaries location. Let's go to that location /u01 Postgres pgv15. When you do here, there is a bin. Go to bin. If you see ls init star, see, we have initdb utility, right? We need to call this initdb utility to, we have to call this initdb utility to uh, perform the database initialization. Before performing the database initialization, what I wanted to show you, let me go to the location of the data directory and see do we have anything there. Okay, just go to the data directory cd slash u02 postgres data directory. Is it empty? Now let's perform the database initialization step. Okay, dot slash initdb hyphen capital D equal to the location of the data directory. Okay, hyphen capital D slash u02. What is the data directory that we wanted to make? Postgres slash data underscore dir. See, so in this database initialization, what it is doing, it is creating the necessary directories that are required to run the Postgres cluster. Okay, so when you go to the data directory now, previously it was empty. If you see here, all the files which are necessary for running the Postgres cluster has been created under the data directory. Now if someone asks you what is data directory, data directory is a location which contains the necessary configuration files that are required to start the or run the Postgres cluster. So about these data directories and files, we will be discussing it in the next session. So with this, we have completed the Postgres installation. So if you observe here, what it is saying, if you want to start the Postgres cluster, you need to run this command. What is the command? pg underscore ctl is a utility which is used to start the Postgres cluster. pgctl hyphen d slash u02 Postgres data directory start. See, the Postgres cluster has been started. If you want to connect this PSQL, see, it has been connected. With this, what we have done, we have completed the Postgres installation. Let's conclude. Okay, Postgres installation contains two parts. Okay, so what type of installation that we are doing? We are doing the source code installation. Okay, what are the two parts? One is binaries installation. One is binaries installation. Through which user we are going to perform? Through root user we are going to perform. Okay, and as we are going to install the binaries in a predefined location in the using the source code installation, then we need to call dot slash configure. Okay, dot slash configure and prefix equal to the location where you want to install the binaries. Then we are calling it make and make install. With this completes the binaries installation. Through which user we are going to perform this? Through root user we are going to perform the binaries installation. And the next part is database initialization. What does it mean by a database initialization? Database initialization is a part which is going to create the necessary configuration files that are required to start or run the Postgres cluster. So through which user we are in this, what we are going to call? We are going to call a initdb utility. Initdb utility, through which user we are going to perform? We are going to perform this in database initialization using a Postgres user. What are the steps? Create the data directory. Second one is make the Postgres user as a super user and change the ownership of binaries location and the data directory location from root user to the Postgres user and perform the database initialization by calling initdb utility. So with this, we have completed the installation of Postgres binaries. Tomorrow, we are in the next session, we are going to see what does it mean by a pg underscore ctl utility and what are the different types of Postgres cluster operations and setting up the bash profile. That we will be seeing it in the next class.